Let's practice our modeling by making this cool sort of old radio. I provided a reference for you, so grab that if you'd like to model along with me. Alright, so over here in Blender, I'm going to hit A and select everything and delete it. Press 1 for front orthographic view and bring in that reference image. There's the reference. I'm going to press S2 to scale it a little bit bigger and G to grab and move it. I'll zoom in and I'll just keep moving it until the 3D cursor is pretty much in the middle here. We may have to do some other manipulations. So there it is, it comes in as an empty. All right, let's also press 3 and just move this back a ways so it's out of the way. Shift A, mesh, plane, go into edit mode. I'm going to hit S to scale and see how close we are. Not quite, but we'll get there. Rotate X 90. And now I'm going to select my background image, zoom in and press GX and just center this with respect to the plane. Hold down Shift to move a bit slower. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to go into wireframe and just S to scale and scale that plane a little bit bigger than the outside. Okay, back into solid view and edit mode. I'm going to press E to extrude and I'm going to pull back. And you can't really follow the reference, but you can sort of look here and get a sense of how thick this thing will be. We could adjust that later if we need to. So there's something like that. Okay, back into edit mode and wireframe. 3 for face selection. We're going to select this front face here. Just find the dot. Click on that. Just look from the front. And I'm going to press I to inset and pull it in till it roughly matches the hole like that. Let's go back. Okay, we're going to extrude this in. Press E to extrude and pull it in along the Y. It doesn't really matter how far you go. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to X, delete that face. In edge selection number 2, Shift Alt and click all these edges going around. Like that. I'm going to look from the front. And I'll go back into wireframe. And we're going to bevel this. Control B, and I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to roll my mouse up 1, 2, 3 times. And just adjust that curve until I like it. Try that. Good. Shift and Alt and click there, and there, and there. And now we'll just round out these edges. I'll use the same number of divisions. All right, looking good. Let's do these handles on the side and up to the top. So I'm going to come over here and press 3 for face selection and select that face and Shift S. Cursor selected. I'll bring my 3D cursor there. Shift A, mesh circle. And I'll choose 18 vertices for this. Go into edit mode. I press 1 for vertex selection or vertex mode. And scale it down. Let's rotate Y 90. Let's look from the front. G and pull it up. S to scale until I get the approximate size. And I press E to extrude and pull it out. Go back into wireframe. S, I'll scale it just a little bit bigger. Like that. Okay. In edge selection, Shift Alt and click that edge. Back to number 1. Press 1 for vertex selection. Press E and S. And I can see my vertices, bring it down till they pretty much sort of match this shape. And then E to extrude, pull it out. S to scale. I'll go back into solid view. And now we'll just finish this off by going E and S, pull it in, F. Now Shift Alt and click here. Press E and S. Come in like that. E and pull it back. Alright, I'm going to move the whole thing out and have a look at this. Let's bevel these edges. Press 2, Shift Alt and click there, and here. Control B and pull. Roll your mouse back to 0 so you have just 2 edges, and then up 1. So you have a total of 3. And I'm going to do the same here. Control B. Just a small one there. We'll need another edge loop in here. And probably it's a good idea to have one here. That's it. Control 1 for one subdivision. And we have that. Let's just have a closer look at that. As we pull it in, it shrinks down with the subdivision a little bit. So I'll probably just go S and scale it up just a little bit like that. So we have enough room for this bar. In fact, maybe even a bit more. That's okay like that. Let's select the main body and go into edit mode. Shift S, cursor to selected. I could do actually Shift C and bring the 3D cursor right down to the middle, but I want it for sure with respect to my object here. So I'm going to select that and do that. That's why I did that. Okay. All right. Let's select this and set the origin to the 3D cursor and add a mirror. And we have it on both sides. With my 3D cursor still there, we can do this bar using a plane. Bring in a plane, rotate X90, pull it up, scale it in the X. Into edge selection, grab that edge. I'll just bring that down to about there. And then I'm going to scale this in the X so that the plane ends sort of right in the middle. Now we're going to select that edge again and X edges. 1 for vertex selection and select these 2 points and Shift Control B to bevel. Pull. And I don't want 3, I want 5 points. So roll it up like that, pull your mouse till you're happy with the curve, something like that. Go back into object mode. Right click, convert to curve, and in the curve dialog box under geometry and bevel, start pulling that up. Let's look from the front and get the thickness that you want. You want to be able to have it fit, of course, in this space. I'm going to go into edit mode and I'm going to SX, scale it in the X, and I'll grab these bottom points and just pull them down. It looks pretty central. However, if I look from the top, I need to center it. So just do that by eye. Something like that. Look again. And let's shade smooth. And then do Control 1 for one subdivision. Already did that. So let's look at that. And then you can just take it into SX if you need to make it a little bit smaller or whatever. Okay, that's probably okay for the moment. Let's do this thing here. I'm going to look from the front and grab my 3D cursor, drop it there, and Shift A, mesh, circle, still at 18 is fine. Scale it in edit mode till it's about right, and then E to extrude, come up. I can do this in wireframe. E and S, E and S, E to extrude, come on up, and just repeat that. Very easy. Just come up to, well, you can do anything you want. You can, if you want, you can come up like this for that piece. Come on up. And then right here, I'm just going to E, come up, S to scale, pull it down just a little bit, like that. E, come up like that. Okay, back in the solid view, we need to close this off. Press the period key to focus on that. E and S, come in. F to make face. And we're going to bevel some stuff. Control B, just pull back and have one segment. Okay, now we're going to put on a subdivision on this. So just before I do that, we'll just bevel a few of these sharp edges. Control B, just with one segment in there. Wherever it's 90 degrees, they don't have to be all the exact same bevel widths or anything. I'm going to bring an edge loop up here and down. That'll sharpen that up. I'm going to bring an edge loop down here. Can't see it right now, but there it is. I'll probably need another one up here. And of course we'll need some more there, but let's see what happens when we do Control 1. See, we lose some of the shape. When we look down here, we're not too bad. We need an edge loop coming down. Squish that down. We definitely need an edge loop here. Squish that down. In fact, we might bring one in, down, and in. And then we'll come up to the top. Edge loop up here, and down. It just depends what kind of detail you want. I'll bring this one up a little bit more. I think I'm going to bring one up here and down to do that. Yeah, my antenna is way over here. I'm going to grab it, pull it forward. It's in front of this bar, as you can see here. Let's just GZ, just move it down, make sure it's hitting the surface. All right, let's do this to have a look at that. I think I'm going to move it back a little bit. Okay, I can adjust that in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the cavity shader. And we'll also do this, and we'll notice that some of our polys are flipped. So we're going to come in here and Alt-N, recalculate outside. That's blue now. Same thing with the main body. All right, so my polys are facing the right way. Don't worry about the inside of that. And don't worry about the shading on this yet. Okay. Let's do the knobs here. I think for this I will take this plane and let's use this to create the base there. Shift D, pull it up, S to scale a little bit, pull it over. We're going to break this out and use this. P, separate by selection. Go back there. We grab that guy. Look from the front. Go into edit mode. Press G and sort of line it up. S to scale. All right, let's just go ahead and extrude it up. I'll select the whole thing. I'm going to pull it down a little ways. SZ and SX. The only thing we have to wonder about is how long it is. So let's see. If we look at the reference here, you can see it sort of almost like touches the bar. So if I look down to here, that's probably okay anyhow. Okay. We're going to select the whole thing and bring it up. We're going to delete the bottom face. Okay. And then let's select these edges. I press 2 to go into edge selection. Select those. Control B, pull. I'm going to have 5. And then select the top. Control B as well. Select the whole thing. Push it down to the surface. All right, let's Shift S cursor to selected. Bring my 3D cursor there to make the knobs. Mesh circle. Stick with the 18. Scale it down. Pull it up. Look in front view. G. And pull it over. S. And just position it. E to extrude. Pull it up. Okay. Okay, go in wireframe, E and S, pull it in, E, come up, S to scale, press the period key to focus on that, and we'll close it by doing E and S, come in a little ways, E, come down, S to scale it in a bit, E and S, and then F to make a face. Press 2 for edge selection. We're going to grab these edges and bevel them. Control B, just roll it back to 1, so you have a total of 3 edges. This one, same thing, just like that. And this one, because we're going to do subdivision surface, we'll have to put it in. Now, I'll show you something. Control 1. That looks fine, but I kind of want this a little bit more rounded. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to Shift Alt and click that edge, E and S, and pull it in, and actually have a bit of a bottom there. In fact, we're going to make a little knob. And in fact, I might even make this a bit rounder by selecting that edge, pulling it down a bit, and selecting this edge, S to scale it, just like that, so it's a bit more rounded. Okay, I'm going to come back in here and Shift and Alt and click there, and I'm just going to S, pull it in. Let's look at the diagram. You can't really tell very well what's going on underneath. S to scale a bit, but there's a little like post. I'm just going to push it down, and that'll help with like any shadows. Let's bring an edge loop up. We really don't need one under, but I'm just going to do it anyhow. Do it like that. All right. Okay, so let's go back into this thing here and do another edge loop right there. Sharpen that up. And let's, in face selection, number 3, Shift and Alt and click to get all those faces. We'll press I twice, I, hold Shift and pull in like this, and then E, Alt S, and push. No pull. I just want them protruding a little bit. And then with them still selected, Control R and Control B and pull, but roll your mouse back so you have just a total of 2 edges. Going up, one going down. Pull it like something like that. Release, and you have that. Okay. My 3D cursor is right in the middle of that thing, so I'm just going to set the origin to the 3D cursor in case it wasn't there. And mirror, and I'll have 2, and then I can just play around with this positions and stuff. This is going to be probably fine. You just put them wherever you really want. It doesn't have to match the diagram exactly. So we have that. Let's just double check. Yeah, those are backwards. Go in, Alt N, recalculate outside. Just do that frequently. Save your work. Okay, so far so good. Let's do the bottom legs. In fact, let's grab a circle from here. It's in the right orientation. So let's just take that circle, Shift D, duplicate it, pull it down to here, P to break it out. We can hide the mirror for now. No, not on that. Put that back. We can hide the mirror on this, so we'll use it again later. Let's look from the front. And move this into position, S to scale. And there's another piece here, we'll do that in a bit. So let's just get that to the size that we like. And then E to extrude, come down, E and S, come out, E, I move that. Okay, E, come down to here. I'm going to close this off by going E and S and F. We'll shade smooth and we'll come back and bevel. In edge selection, Control B with 1 segment, drag an edge loop down, drag an edge loop. And as always, I may have made those a little bit sharp. So if you don't like that, you can grab these edges and scale them in the Z to bring them a little bit further away. And you can just take this one and just S. And this one and just S, if you prefer it like that. Okay, let's see if we turn the mirror back on. We're going to mirror it with respect to this, so I'll just come in here and bring my 3D cursor there. And for this, we'll set the origin to the 3D cursor. And I'll have that. Now there's front ones and there's back ones, but we'll do the other ones in just a moment. Let's first do this piece that's on the side here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to drop in an edge loop there. Control R, temporarily. Control R there. We'll have to do one on the other side, like that. And then I'm going to shift in face selection, Shift Alt and click there, and I'll have that. And then I'm going to let's just Shift D and P. So we duplicated it. Select that alone and slash D. We're going to get rid of some of this. In 3, face selection, and C for circle select or paint select, whatever that is. I think paint select. I'm just going to grab those and delete those faces. Go back in object mode and slash to come back. I'm going to come back to the main body. I don't need these edges, so in edge selection, Shift Alt and click there, there, and there. X, dissolve edges. Get rid of those. But we do have this piece here now. Okay. Let's just focus on both of those. So I selected this and then this and slash. So we got that piece there. Let's just Alt S that thing. Come out a little distance like that. E and Alt S, and now we're going to pull it in. X, faces. Delete the inside faces. So I got a piece like that. And I think what I'll do here is in edge selection, select that edge and this edge, and we'll Control B. I'm going to give a big kind of curve and roll my mouse up to about 5, and then back here I'm just going to do a small one. So grab those two and Control B like that, and then I'm going to grab the outer edge, Shift Alt and click, and I got to go all the way around, make sure I got it all, and up here. That should be it. And then I'll zoom in and Control B and pull. Do that. Shade smooth. I'm just going to pull it back a little bit. Now I'm just going to look, make sure it looks even around. It looks okay. I'll slash to bring everything else back. And what I'd like to do is have some more legs here. I'm actually going to move these forward like this. And then I'm going to Shift D to duplicate them, pull them back, and I'm going to scale these smaller. The back legs are smaller. Let's go to wireframe. I don't know if I can tell that, so I'm just going to go S to scale and just make them smaller. And then I'm going to pull them down like that so that they're the same distance onto the ground. And then I grab the top. I guess I'll just Shift Alt and click this upper edge here. And it's going to pull it to about the same height. So I've got little legs and big legs, but both at the same height. All right, so far so good. Let's take this and shade smooth. So now, let's do the middle stuff. 3D cursor is right in the middle, so let's bring in a plane, rotate X90, and bring it out and just have a look and see how big that is relative to everything. I think I'm going to scale it a little bit bigger, push it in. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to create a region for the speaker and for that other stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay down an edge loop and look in wireframe and see where it lands. Okay, I'm going to pull it up to here. So I now have that plane split in half. 3 for face selection. This piece and this piece. Before I do anything else, I'm going to take that piece, Shift D, pull it out a little bit, and pull it up. P to break it out, and use this to make this bar. Let's go look at the front again. Let's go into wireframe. Let's scale this in the Z. Okay, there's the top. Scale it in the Z. Now into edge selection, grab this. There it is. There's the bottom. Okay, let's look in solid view. I was going to give it some thickness and X faces, delete those back faces. In edge selection, grab this edge and this edge. Actually, before we do that, let's just slash key to focus on that. Let's get rid of these faces. Select this face and this one, X faces. Now I'm going to grab those. Let's come back. Let's look at the front. Don't really need to do this for this part. We're actually just going to bevel this, so let's just go look at solid view. Let's just go Control B and pull a nice big rounded area like that. Okay, base shade smooth, and take this and just push it in a little ways, something like that. All right, so we're setting ourselves up to do that speaker area here. All right, so we got that. So we need this. Plane on the bottom here. Let's go in actually in face selection. I need that, so I'm gonna break that out. P, break it out. So I've got just that. Let's go into edit mode and Shift S, cursor to selected, to bring the 3D cursor right there, and look from the front. Okay, 3D cursor is right there. We're gonna make a hole to put the speaker in. Shift S, cylinder. I'm going to use 32 and just stick with that. S, I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to rotate X 90 and try to match that hole. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So I've got that. Okay, I'm going to, with that selected, Shift Alt and click that and slash just to focus on those. So we're going to create a Boolean, select the plane, Boolean difference with the eyedropper, select that, and apply. Let's take this and hide it for a second, and note we've got a hole. Now it's probably going to be flipped. No, it's actually facing the right way. Okay, Alt H. We're going to use this to make the speaker though, so select that. Let's scale that in the Y. All right, I'm just going to pull it out so we can deal with this. And I'm going to look from the front for the moment. No, we're not. We are going to do the following and pull that back there for a moment and scale that in the Y again. We'll take this, and let's see, let's take it out. All right, let's take the back and S to scale, pull it down like that, and then imagine that goes back in there. Let's take the front and extrude it out just a little bit straight. E and S come in like this, a little bit flat. And then E, and we'll extrude back, and it'll get all weird, but we'll scale it down like this. You can look from the front if you want to make that the cone of that circle, okay, to sort of match. I'm a little bit off the diagram, but that's fine. We have that, and then we're just going to extrude it forward. Like that, and then bevel. Control B, pull back, and have just a bunch of segments in there to do that. Just Control 1 and shade smooth. Okay, and I may just bring us edge loop up like that, not too tight. I want it pretty soft, and I don't know, maybe I'll do one there. Let's say it was sitting there. All right, let's just take it though and see if there's stuff we can delete. This back thing, we don't need that. And that's good enough. Okay, so I get that. You sharpen it up any way you like, but I like it. Do I? Just if I drop one there. Okay, we're just gonna do that. Okay, now let's see. That thing has a Boolean in it, so I'm just gonna come in here, select it all, Shift S, cursor selected, and it's my 3D cursor right in the middle. We're gonna make the wire mesh. Scale it in Z so that it's underneath. I just want to get the size of this. Okay, like that. Let's just look at this. I'm going to drop an edge loop there and select it all, and then subdivide it a few times. Maybe let's try that. Now we're going to, let's see, Control F and choose poke faces, and then Control F again, tries to quads. Let's go back into object mode and add a wireframe modifier. So let's just scroll down here, and you can choose boundary or not, and you adjust the size of this. Let's bring everything else back and have a look at that and just position it. Let's make sure it goes under this bar and above the speaker. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to move the speaker back a little bit. And what I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to save first, is shade smooth. And let's make sure everybody is okay. This bar needs to be flipped. Not that. I think we're all right. I may want to say hide this, take the plane and the speaker and move them back a little bit. I think that's better. Okay, look at this, make sure that edge isn't showing. It goes right in. I think that's probably going to be okay like that. We can try with shadow just to get a sense of, you know, more reality, and we can switch to a matte cap and just choose a nice bright one, and that'll show you where you're at. This thing looks odd, right? So maybe I haven't been seeing that, the fact that this is flipped here. You can tell by the discoloration on that. Everything else looks a-okay. I might be missing something, but I can come back. Okay, good. I'm going to go into edit mode on this, Shift D, pull this up, scale in the Z, and start just matching that size. I don't even have to be all that accurate. And I'm going to Shift D and duplicate it and pull it down for this one. With that one selected, I'm going to Shift Alt and click a bit of that and Control L for linked. I'm going to press P to break out so it's separate from this, so I can edit these pieces, because what I'm going to do is this piece here, I'm going to pull outwards. I'm just making sure that it's not going in front of this bar. And those are actually probably okay right there. How are we doing? Yeah, okay. And really from here, it's up to you if you do something in here. What I was planning on doing was just displaying this in the viewport display. And in that case, you can't bring in an image. So I actually created this. Here, let me just grab that. It's a little bit blurry because of the way I took a screenshot of this and brought it in. But I did all of this in geometry. I don't really feel like rendering and setting up lights and all of that. And so I'm not sure I'm going to do this part. You can do it in geometry if you want. You could create that needle by just coming in here, Shift D to duplicate it, maybe P to break it out. Take this one and scale it in the X. Rotate Y 90 and scale it down a little bit. Maybe scale it in the Y, just flatten it out, and scale it in the Z. You know, and position it wherever you want. And there is your, you know, like the red line that I've got here. And then what I might do is come in here, Shift S, cursor to select it. Select those two things. Now when my 3D cursor is right in the middle. Bring in another plane. And make this another color at least. Rotate X 90. Okay, scale that in the Z. Just have it fit underneath there. Let's make it a little bit longer so it goes into the body. And then maybe we'll pull it out to here. And then you'd have some you know, indicator on there for the stations, the frequencies, and all that. Now let me just look and see if we've missed anything on this, and double check that. Okay, let's give this some color now. Let's take the empty and let's move it over, and I'll do something kind of similar in terms of those colors, kind of. Okay, so I'm going to come over here on the matte cap. I want to switch to object. I'm going to switch here to both. Increase these. I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, and let's grab the main body. Click here. Down to viewport display, click there and choose a color that you like, sort of like that blue. Kind of looks like that. Okay, this piece here, I'm going to make a variation of that. I'll make it a little darker. Okay, for these ones that are sort of metal, I'm just going to do it a slight blue tinge, and I can come in here to the hex and I can select that and Control C to copy it. And anything that I want that metal, I can come in here and Control V, and there is quite a bit. I'm going to do that right now, but I'm going to do something else with those knobs in a second. And this base, so I'll just go around and do all the metal pieces. Start with that. We can make that one red. Okay. Let's come up here and shade smooth this guy here. It should be all right. Yeah, okay. I want the tops of the knobs to be black, so I'm going to select a piece and Control plus. I'm just going to keep Control plusing until I get down near here. Control plus, and if it goes too far and I don't want that, I'll Control minus. I have that region. P, and I'm going to break that out. So I now have this piece, which has that metal, and this one. And I'm going to click here and make it sort of a black color. And if I want to keep that black color, I'll just come in here and Control C, and then I'll come over here and I'll do a similar thing. Select Control plus until I get down to, I guess, there. P to break it out. Control V. That should go on the other side. Yeah. Okay. Down here, I think these are completely black, if I'm not mistaken. Let's come in here, hide that. Let's go to the speaker. I'm going to split out some parts. That part, keep going, Control plus, that's too far, so Control minus, P to break that out. But on that, the speaker part here, I want that in black, Control V. And this part is going to be that sort of off blue. I'll just drag it up like that. Alt H. Okay, actually we'll hide that. Select the plane there, and then you can do whatever colors you want. I had it as sort of a yellowish color here, and I actually had this a slightly different, something like that. And this one will keep it sort of white. Again, whatever you put in there. Shadow on, and then doing this in the viewport display, depending on which matte cap you choose, whatever matte caps you have, you can get slightly different shading for this. Okay, if you want, you can change the viewport color here if you want it black or want it lighter. All right. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.